Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a bright and robust lightsaber that you can actually duel with, all for cheap. Before I do that, make sure you drop me a follow. Done that? Let's get cracking. So this is how to make your own bright and robust lightsaber. First of all, we need a hilt. You can either make your own, or I just use one of the old extendable lightsaber toys and remove the blade. Don't need this. And you're left with the hilt here, but it needs to have a clear passing all the way through. So this on the inside needs to be drilled out, and then there's another layer of plastic underneath that. That's also drilled out, and then you're gonna have a load of jagged edges, so a file will get that nice and smooth. And the blade is going to be made out of a polycarbonate tube, not acrylic, not perspex, has to be polycarbonate, so that's near-on indestructible. It's 1 inch diameter by 3 millimeters thick. And then for the lights, I've got a strip of blue LEDs. These are 12 volt, but they work perfectly fine using just a 9 volt battery. And that's important because a 9 volt battery will fit in the hilt. Now these have got a sticky side on one side, so double them over, making sure you put the bend where the metal contacts are. Don't try and bend a resistor or an LED, and then use that double-sided side to stick them together. So you've got a double-sided LED strip. And when they light up in the tube, you can see all the LEDs, so they need diffusing. Now this is a big pile of packaging foam I had to buy because I don't sell small amounts. In fact, this huge piece here, I only need a bit that is this big. So God knows what I'm going to do with the rest. Anyway, this is, depending on the thickness of the foam, you're going to want it to be the length of your lights, but the width needs to be between 5 and 6 inches. I ended up using 5-inch width, and that wraps around enough to make that tight enough to fill up most of the tube, but not so tight that it's a struggle to get that in. This is held onto the LED strip with just clear tape, and then it's rolled up and more clear tape to hold that together. That slides into the tube. It's a snug enough fit that it doesn't rattle around, but it's not hard to put it in. And this is just a 9 volt battery connector that I just wired up. I've cut a little notch out of the plastic there just to make sure the wires have got somewhere to rest rather than them being squashed. Now to make this battery connector sit more comfortably on the end of the tube, I've cut a small circle of EVA foam, and I'm going to take that and tape it to the back of the battery connector. That will then plug into the end of the pipe, and that can be held in place with more electrical tape. Don't want that to come off, so I've wrapped that around a few times. And then the other end, I've got a piece of clear plastic. This is just from some packaging. Cut a circle out of that. And this can either be super glued on or just a little bit more clear tape to hold that in place. Now the polycarbonate tube is too loose for the hilt, so it needs to be beefed up a bit with some electrical tape. I just wrapped that round and then drilled a hole in the hilt, and that went into the tape, and that holds that in place with just one screw. The battery on the end, I made sure I taped in place so it doesn't disconnect when you're using it. And this is the finished lightsaber. It is very bright and very robust, as it's a polycarbonate tube. Again, I can't stress enough, not perspex, not acrylic. They will shatter upon impact. Polycarbonate, you could run it over with your car and it'll be fine. This is a Darth Vader lightsaber, so it's a Darth Vader toy. And then some red LEDs. This one I've added hot glue to the blade, and that's to give it the unstable blade look that Kylo Ren has. Now you might have noticed this one's got a wire coming out the back. That's because I want this one, so the battery you don't have to take the blade out for. So you just put the battery in the bottom end of the hilt, and that's held in place with just a small bolt like I've done on this one here. Now you can use anything to hold it in place if you don't want an ugly looking bolt, but add a bit of black paint to weather it up and it will blend pretty well. So this one has a wire that comes out the back as well, and halfway up that wire I've added a switch, so this one can be turned on and off by the click of a button. So there you go, that's how to make a bright and robust lightsaber, all for cheap. Make sure you drop me a follow to keep an eye out for when I upload another video on how to make some more cool stuff. And until then, remember, you don't have to be great at making to make something great. Goodbye.